Hello everybody and welcome back to the Super Mario Odyssey playthrough. I'm still very gutted about that awful mark on the Odyssey. Why couldn't we just paint it? Like, really, Cappy? Are we that lazy? But yes, let's keep our energy up. I know, we spent 45 minutes just running around. The delightful New York City after the festival, rather than, keeping the energy going. But hey, we're heading to the Snow Kingdom. They've got a cake, and as you should know by now, I love a bit of cake. Love a bit of cake. And also, I really do like this place. Maybe not right now, because blizzards are always awful, but it's the Snow Kingdom and it's called Shiveria, which is just awesome. And look, it's cold. So Mario shivers, and it's just awesome. And also, we're going into the Odyssey in a slightly different route. We're going in through the exhaust pipe. Hey! But yes, the Snow Kingdom's pretty lovely, and I do love the music once we have gotten through the blizzard, shall we say. But yes, Shiveria has a few interesting names throughout the different languages. So in Japanese, it's Powderboru, so powder bowl. The Spanish is Friolandia, Frio meaning cold, and Landia being land. The French, the Nintendo of Europe name for it, is Flocons en Flonfoni, which is a bit nuts, but flocon means snowflake. Not sure quite what Flonfoni means, but it's all to do with snowflakes. The Dutch is Biberie, or Biberie, I'm not quite sure, which comes from Biberen, which is to shiver, and then Siberi, which is Siberia. The German's quite fun, because it's Schlotterkommen, which is shiver combs, because it's pun on Schlotten, which is shiver, and Katakommen, which is catacombs. Which is slightly concerning that catacombs come into it, but there we go. The Italian is Ibernia, which comes from Ibernere, or something along those lines, which is to hibernate. The Russian is Ozyabsk, which comes from Ozyabnut, which is to get cold, and Sk, which is just a common ending of Russian town names. So it's the whole thing of like the Landia, or the ear, that you've got in the English translation. Because you do tend to get ear on the end of a lot of locations. I mean, pretty much your common... Let's see, town suffixes. Or, well, more country suffixes, I suppose. Or not. City suffixes? I suppose they're potentially more in fantasy things than anything. Yeah, I mean, in the UK at least, you don't get any ears. You get, like, Lang, Minster, Mouth, Port, Wick. You get a lot of wicks. And various things. I think actually it's Latin. That's what it is. Latin place suffixes. That's what I was looking for. You see, I knew I'd get them eventually. I suppose you also get Greek as well, so Ia is Latin for a place name. Could you get like Alexandria, etc. Polis, because Polis is like city. Ma, Iam, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, the whole thing with Shiveria is that you have you have these 4 pathways off of the main area because the games, or as I suppose should be more correctly, the games, if you know you like a bit of Kingdom Hearts, can't go ahead because a certain evil Koopa face has nabbed off with the frozen frosted, the cake, and obviously we can't have fun if the cake is gone, because the cake just can't be alive. That would just be awful. So in order to, you know, make us all feel better, we need the games, or the races, to take place, and the only way to get that to happen is to, you know, break through, and obviously in order to do that we need to get all of these power moons, because those are the things that are helping block the races from taking place or something. I'm not quite sure the entire logic behind it, but either way, 4 challenges get us to the thing that we need to get. So there's quite a few story moons in this particular kingdom, but they are all quite enjoyable if you ask me. And also they're all nice little contained puzzles. Obviously this one is mostly revolving around the Typhus, which are obviously the big cloud enemies that blow you off of everything, which actually only first turned up in Super Mario 3D World, but they are pretty much, I think, probably a mainstay enemy now. Also, I love that the French name is Brouche. It's meant to sound like, obviously, whoosh or foosh, which is what the Japanese word is a play on, because Japanese word is name for these guys, for the Typhus, is Yugo, which is just a play on Foosh, which is actually, so Foosh is an enemy from Super Mario 64, and obviously that comes from whoosh. So the Typhus are basically grown-up versions of Fooshes, I feel. And what's quite funny also is that the Dutch also called them Typhus, but the Germans called them Orkoshkis, which is a play on Orkan, which is hurricane. And also, I'm such an idiot because I've missed another batch of purple coins that I'm going to end up having to go chasing after. Great. But we now have the final of the Broodals. This is Rango, otherwise known as Rango the Bouncer, apparently. It's not the most focused, but Rango is a valuable player on the Broodals team, always coming through in the end. A master of his boomerang trampoline hat, he can throw it both straight and curved with almost natural control over the way it flies. On the other hand, he sometimes zones out a bit and looks confused. That's your chance to counterattack. Whole gist is that you leap on his hats once you've, you know, jumped on them, and yeah, you're all sorted. At this point in time, you theoretically can jump on top of his hat to stop this phase, but really you're just kind of better off just running away because you can do. Something that is brought up in the trivia here is that when he hides under his hat, Rango greatly resembles both the Spiky Top Man and Top Maniac from the Galaxy games, and also some of his speech mannerisms, including pronouncing "your" as "ye", and his sort of "yuck" laugh, suggests that he seems to speak with a southern drawl, which is kind of similar to that of Goofy from Disney. And if you also look at, you know, the droopy ears and his jowls, he's a very goofy looking rabbit. And I suppose that is ultimately where they're going with that one. Which makes sense. And I suppose, you know, since we have covered all of the Broodals, they are a fascinating enemy. Because you look at all of the like new creatures that get introduced into games, and sometimes they work. I mean, obviously the Koopalings went down very well with everyone, and so they've kind of kept coming back time and time again because people latched onto them and thought, yes, we like these guys. But actually, on the whole, the Mario franchise hasn't necessarily done a whole lot with creating sort of new evil teams. Outside of like the Mario RPG games, you're pretty much exclusively Bowser and the Koopalings. I mean, you look at 3D Mario, you've got Bowser, Bowser Jr., Bowser, Bowser, more Bowser, even more Bowser. Yeah. In the 2D ones, it's Bowser, 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 Bowser. Oh look, there's the Koopalings. Whereas you look at something like Sonic, and then you've got like a different blooming set of creatures every 5 blooming minutes, even though nobody wants them. Or a new kind of weird enemy that needs to be faced down. But I do really like the Broodals in the grand scheme of things. Because I think part of it is because there's something a little bit different about them. They are just effectively the Koopalings in terms of how they work, but I suppose the fun of it is that they don't necessarily work entirely like the Koopalings, and they seem much more of a team than the Koopalings, so you generally always see them together, even if you only face one of them down in a battle. And that works out quite well, I feel. I think the only part of the Broodals that I'm not as keen on is Madame Broodal, or Madame Brood, as she's actually called, which is the massive, fat Broodal in the red dress with her chain chompikins. And it's basically just because while she's meant to be the boss of the Broodals, she only ever comes up by herself, and she's just very separate from the Broodals themselves. And also, while she may be the boss, she doesn't seem to really have much to do with the actual Broodals, which is kind of strange, but there we go. There's also a fun thing with Madame Brood of she uses her chain chompikins like a yo-yo, and basically when she's doing that, she's effectively using a yo-yo trick, which is basically walk the dog, because obviously chain chomps are basically like dogs, which is quite cool. And also, I am loving Absolutely loving the Goombas in Santa hats. I feel like we need plushies of Goombas in Santa hats. I'm going to double check whether they actually already exist or not, because I feel like they should do. So unfortunately I cannot see a picture of a Goomba wearing a Santa hat that's actually a plushie. I suppose they just don't really necessarily want to, but really please, can someone create a plushie that is a Goomba wearing a Santa hat, because it's like the most adorable thing I've ever seen. I probably have seen cuter, but it just makes them so cute and cuddly. I mean, also Goomba with a Mario hat and Mario stash is also particularly adorable. Basically just shove Mario's hat and moustache on anything and it's pretty cute. Partially because it looks sort of ridiculous, but also, I don't know, there's a bit of charm about it that I feel just works really, really well. And I feel like the game just does not want me to pull that manoeuvre off. I don't know why it doesn't want me to pull that manoeuvre off, but it's just going, no, you cannot ground pound your way down through a set of Goombas. I will not allow it. And I suppose, yeah, they can just sod off. Also, I forgot to mention we got a new piece of clothing. We got this lovely cosy parka, which I'm loving, apart from the fact that I feel that it's the wrong colour. Because I feel like it should have been, you know, a sort of bluey purple, because it's basically the Ice Climbers get-up. And I feel that they should have just gone the whole hog and said, yes, this is an Ice Climbers reference. No, we are not ever going to be creating a new Ice Climbers game, but here's our little nod to it, because we appreciate you, and we appreciate that everyone missed the Ice Climbers in Super Smash Bros. 4. But yes, before we go and do the races, or the games, as I have now started to really awkwardly call them, just want to get a few more moons, because we can get them, and why the hell not? Now, funny story. So when I first got this moon, actually, I kind of went about it a rather backwards way, because obviously what you're meant to do is throw the Koopa shell down and then effectively just follow it round. So it ends up killing all of the spinies, so you don't have to. Which is great. But yeah, I didn't realise I could do that until it was slightly too late, so I ended up effectively bulldozing my way through the spinies. Like trying to find a little gap in the middle where I could go and kill them. And it worked. I managed, well, I'm pretty sure it worked and I managed to get the moons. But it was just like, probably wasn't my smartest ever manoeuvre, and oh, I see a little thing at the top of the screen. I knew there were two in here. You see, you can't fool me. Generally, always two moons in these sort of secret areas. Always. Though obviously you can fool me because I have missed some purple coins that I'm gonna end up getting lost and have to go back for. It's a running theme as you get towards the end of this game for me. Where clearly, like, to begin with, I was just like, ooh, I actually know where I'm going to get all these purple coins. I'm very proud of myself. And then you get to the second half and I'm just like, wait, purple coins, where are you? Please, 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 come for me. I need to find you because I need to buy stuff, because clearly I've got a bit of a spending problem. I mean, considering I'm about to probably put a lot of money down to get a whole bunch of theatre tickets. Not meaning, you know, I'm going to do that whole ticket touting thing. More so, there's a lot of shows I want to see and I'm thinking I'm just going to go book as many shows as I can right now. That's gonna... My wallet's certifiably gonna hate me for it, but hey! I want to go to the theatre, that's the price I have to pay. I have annoyingly expensive hobbies. Got gaming, which obviously does not come cheap. Because you're talking about like 40, 50, 60 quid a pop for a game, because of course. I'm liking the games that decide, you know what, we're just going to charge 30 for this. Because it takes me back to when I was younger. When... I can't remember which generation it was. I'm pretty sure that it was the GameCube PS2 era. Where you looked at most mainstream games and you were looking at either 30 or at max 40 quid. And then they have obviously gone up. Obviously I know they used to be more expensive. Totally get that. But yeah, they're still very expensive these days, and obviously that it's not fun on a wallet. But yeah, we get to race in this and it's so much fun. Because you get to bound all over the place, you get slowed down by snow and momentum. But just getting around this track smoothly is just a delight! Particularly because you can just bound everywhere, it's great fun, love it. And can I also just point out how adorable the Shiverians are? I mean, just look at them! They're like little polar bear yeti things. That are just incredibly round and adorable. And I think quite a few people have also fallen in love with the Shiverians because, I mean, just look at them! I just can't not think they're adorable. I mean, hey, maybe I'm a saddo for thinking that, but I'm also the nut job who was in floods of tears for the last 10-20 minutes of Doctor Who Christmas special, because I do love a good cry every now and again, and it happens, you see. Because I'm just very in touch with my emotions, and they do often get the better of me at times. It's also, you know, the slight curse of having depression is you never know quite how your emotions are going to decide to behave, and sometimes they might just decide to go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to screw you over today. Because that's how that one works. But really, today's a happy day, because we were a supersonic snowman, and I am totally down with that. We did a little bit of supersonic racing. We got our feet right off the ground. And there is our multi-moon. I will take that quite nicely. And it's time to go chase down some more power moons in Shiveria. Let's go!